Welcome to everybody to our first episode of this Therapist Speak series. So this is our brand new live. We'll be here every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern with a new mental health professional to have real conversations about those things that actually matter to our mental health. Okay, so
Yes.
we're going to kick it off tonight. Hey, Taylor. We're going to kick it off tonight with Miss Yvette. Well, you said just say Yvette.
Yes.
We'll kick it off tonight with Yvette, and she's going to talk about a topic that gets tossed around a lot, but rarely unpacked, and that is radical self care versus that surface level fix that a lot of us are doing. So, Miss Yvette,
Hi.
go ahead and introduce yourself more if you'd like, and then we'll just get into the conversation.
Yes. Well, I am Yvette, and like Dr. Candace said, we have been knowing each other for well over 20 years at this point.
A long time.
I have my undergrad in psych and my master's in social work, and I am currently an empowerment life coach. My goal is to basically help women and all people really just find the best versions of themselves. And I got into my own self care journey maybe a couple of years ago. And I'll just be a little transparent with you guys because it took me a while to speak about it. But maybe about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. Not a lot of people knew that because I was really good at covering it up. I was a functional depressive person, basically, so to speak. And I myself started going to therapy and started my own self care journey. And I became passionate about it and wanted to help people, other people, find their way to being the best versions of themselves because it wasn't an easy journey, and I'm still working on it for sure. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. So here we are. Welcome, guys.
Are. Thank you again for coming, and we welcome you to this space to be able to share your knowledge from personal experience and what you've learned in this on this journey of mental health as a professional, and like I said, as personally as well. So let's just get started. Let's get started. I have a couple of questions, and of course, you can take the floor and run with it. Let me
Yes.
speak to a few people that I see came in. Hello, everyone that joined. Hi, Miss.
Yes. Hello,
Oh, thank you for
everyone.
the gifts. Thank you all so much. Help us to try to reach our goal up there, if you don't mind. For our people, hey, thank you for coming. All right, let me stop playing and act like I'm doing this. I have some interview questions, but I do want to just start with the basics. What do you consider, since the title is radical self care versus surface level fixes, what do you consider radical self care? And how is that different from like our bubble baths and spa days?
Yes. So when we think radical, at least when I think radical, a lot of times I think like to the extreme, right? But with radical self care, you're basically delving into self care that is going to protect your peace, is going to get you to the end goal of your healing.
Mhm.
It's a space where you are basically choosing yourself over anything else. Whereas bubble baths, don't get me wrong, they serve their purpose,
Right, right.
right? But I always look at bubble bath as more of that surface level
Mhm.
self care type of action. Is not really going to get you to the core of what's really going on. Of course, it's going to take care of your need in the moment. You had a long, stressful day at work. The kids are working your nerves. You want to just chill out for a second. You go in there, you put on some Teddy Pendergrass, light those candles, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to,
That's the
we are
vibe.
zoned out for the moment,
Mhm.
right? But I always look at surface level care as more so like a bridge way to your radical self care, which is ultimately the point that we want to get to. And hopefully I can help you guys gain a little bit more clarity in that as we continue.
Absolutely. And we want you to help us to go deeper and to tell us more about that radical self-care. How do we get to that place? And but before we get there, let's kind of build up to it, right?
Sure.
What do you feel, or why do you feel like that surface level self-care became so popular? And I guess what are some of the risks if we just stop it right there? We stop with the songs and the bubble bath. We just keep it right there.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, honestly, two words that come to mind when I think surface level care is it's sales. We live in a day and time of social media. And you guys, I mean, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, what's the first thing that, a lot of things that we see on our FYP page? All right, guys, come on, get ready with me as I prepare to go get my nails done. Get
Right.
ready with me as I get ready to go get my hair done. It looks great, right? And so social media tends to build this fantasy for us. I mean, you hear it all the time, and I won't, get too sidetracked, but you see this amazing couple on social media, and you're like, oh my God, I see what you do for others. I want that. I want that. And then behind the scenes, you find out they're not really happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like surface level care is a lot of that. It's what looks good on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
The risk is you're never really getting to the root of what's really going on.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're not getting to the heart of, okay, like for me, for instance, when I said I was depressed. Well, before I learned more about radical self-care, surface level self-care had me depressed and broke.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm even more depressed.
Even more depressed because now I'm depressed because of life and now I ain't got no money.
Now I ain't got no money.
And so I feel like some of the risks with that is you can go over your monthly expenses when we're dealing with surface level because we're talking about facials, spas, pedicures, manicures, things like that feel great in the moment. But like I said, it's not really getting to the heart and the root of what's really taking place and why the person is where they are.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
Ali just said something. I don't know if you're pronouncing it Ali or Ali, but that's what I wrote down too when she said it sales, that surface level sales. That's the first thing I thought about. Not necessarily trendy was my word, but the aesthetic.
Yes.
It's the aesthetic to get into self-care. Self-care.
Absolutely.
People are treating it like something you can just toss on and it'll fix things, but it's very surface level. Like we're saying, it doesn't get to the core. It doesn't necessarily feed the soul. And when we're talking about radical self-care, we're going deep. We're trying to feed the soul. We're trying to unpack what's going on so that we can have something to rebuild and feed ourselves with, right?
And I'm so glad you said that because one of the examples that I thought about, it's like, say you go out to dinner. You've been starving all day long and you go out to dinner and you order an appetizer, right? That appetizer may be satisfactory in that moment, but about 30 minutes to an hour later, at least me, I'm hungry again. That queso and chips went away real quick.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's not really feeding me and it's not offering any real nourishment and really satisfying my hunger. So it's nothing wrong with, I don't want people that are listening today or watching today to think that there's anything wrong with surface level self-care because it definitely serves its purpose, but it's the appetizer. Your radical self-care is going to be the main meal.
Come on, that's what I love. Because we want to be able to share things. Yes, the knowledge here, the information, but we want to leave people with just taglines, something short enough for them to digest, take in, and remember. It's just
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
You want to get your nails done, appetizer, you're about to be hungry later because you're your soul.
And like I said, it serves its purpose. I mean, summertime is coming. For the ladies that are on here, go get your pedicure.
Please do.
Please.
It's true.
It's okay. Men and women alike, it's okay to take that bubble bath. We want you guys to be in a space of feeling relaxed and, not having that stress in that moment. Just don't stay there. Just don't think that that is the end all, because over time, just focusing on surface level can also leave you feeling overwhelmed. You're like I said, you're not really getting to the heart of it. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I
And
think
burnout.
when you said that,
We could talk a lot about burnout. So
oh, we had a whole session on burnout. Absolutely. Oh, good. Look at you getting. Thank you all for liking. Let me just say this because we're just talking, but I want to make sure I engage with the chat. Hello, Annette. Annette.
hi mom, that's my mom.
Oh, hey, mom. Auntie Mandy said, it can also become a burden to trying to keep up with it. That surface level become a
Yes,
burden, and you're absolutely right.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I
Yes.
like everything that she's saying. Hey, Lauren, my niece just jumped in. So, guys, while we're talking, oh, y'all help me reach the goal. Awesome. Thank you. As we were talking, I would love for you all to just tap that screen, keep engaging with us in the comments, and tap away. We're at 6.6 right now. Let's try to get to like 10 or 15, and then we'll keep going from there, okay? I'm trying to learn how to be a TikToker because this is what I hear them say on their videos when they go live.
Please help me out, because I'm sitting over here like, yay, I have no idea what she's talking about.
But yay, she said it, so yay. Look, girl, listen. I don't know, but I want to keep going. So y'all tap away, work them fingers, get it going, and let us get all. Look, let's get 75K. Shoot high.
Yes.
Why not shoot high?
Yes.
Alisa,
Absolutely.
she's scared of clicking the wrong thing. Girl, just
Right.
somebody's face. It don't matter. Do like this. Work your fingers out, honey. But but as we talk about this, I was thinking about, and maybe you can share too. I was thinking about my own self-care journey.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've been a mom for a long time, so I don't mind sharing this, right? I've been a mom since I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
I was in college. And so from that moment on, my life was not just my life. And I never stopped college. I went through, me and that baby graduated together. He graduated
Yes.
college before he went to pre-K. So he
Yes.
was there. And I just never took that time for me. I always had to be a mom. I always had to be a wife then. And then I had other children. And I never took this time for me. Oh, she's talking about mom guilt. Yes, I had a lot of mom guilt. That's a real thing.
It
And we need
is.
to have a whole session on that, right?
Yes.
But back to the self care, I never knew when to press pause and when to stop because I felt like I had to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I almost felt like I had to prove a point because in my mind, I had a child so young. I had this child at 20. I wasn't established. So now I got to prove everybody that I can make it. I can do this. I won't be a statistic and all the things, right?
Yes.
So I didn't take time for Candace. I didn't pause. And
Mm-hmm.
then if it wasn't my children, it was my partner. If it wasn't my partner, it was family or it was friends. And I was everything for everybody. And I was weak, really.
Yes.
Till finally one day I decided, you know what, let me take a break. I need this because what I'm noticing is I'm popping off on everybody that got something to say. Don't breathe funny around me. Why are you chewing so loud?
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep slurping that straw. It was that type of thing.
Absolutely.
So I want you to get into talk to us a little bit about that because it took me a long time, and I don't want people to feel like it's wrong for them to start small with their
Mm-hmm.
bubble baths or with their showers. Start somewhere, but just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, the first thing that I would like to say is very cliche, but very true. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And I tell people, and they look at me, especially parents. I'm going to say something that may be a little controversial to y'all, but bear with me. I have a reason.
Give it to them.
I tell people I don't put my kids first, and I never will again. I put me first. My kids are a priority, but I will always put me first because without putting myself first, I will never become the best version of myself for my children. I,
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I don't
yeah.
want you to go too fast over there. I want you to say that louder for the person in the back who's listening while they over there fixing them noodles and hot dogs or pork chop and biscuits.
Yes,
Say it louder to that mama
absolutely.
back there.
Absolutely. It is so imperative that we, and I say we as moms, I know we have men that are most likely listening as well,
Yes.
but as moms, or even if you're a dad and you're a single parent, we tend to put our children first. You know, we're going to all the games, we're going to the ballet, we're coming home and we're cooking dinner, we're going over homework, and, you know, we're laying in bed with them at night. And I am not saying by any means that is anything wrong. Show up for your children. But there was a time where I would put a sign on my door and I would say, basically, unavailable until whatever time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was unavailable until whatever time. And
Mm-hmm.
that was my space. And even with my youngest, who is basically like an only child now, his siblings are no longer in the home. If I need time and space, I will tell him, Ethan, I just need you to give me 15 to 20 minutes. Just let me go unwind. Because what happens is I will go to work and I will have a very stressful day at work, dealing with patients and all the things. And it's not fair for me to bring home my stress to my son. And sometimes the drive home, I may be talking to someone and then I'm picking him up and then I'm coming home and I'm never really getting the chance to process what just transpired in my day. So what happens is, like, what did you say, Dr. Candace, is if you breathe loud, I'm about to spaz on you, because why did you even breathe?
Why did you have to breathe so hard?
Like,
That was everywhere. You ain't
and
got to
my
breathe that hard.
poor son, he'll look at me like, what? And I'm like, you know what? It's my time to step away.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't deserve to be yelled at because I had a stressful day. And so that's what I mean by saying it is okay to put yourself first. Prioritize your family, yes, but put yourself first. Step away if you have to. Also, and this is a whole nother topic, this is also teaching your kids a level of emotional intelligence. It's okay you don't have to tell your kids all your business, but it's okay to say, mom, dad, had a little stressful day at work. I want to spend this time with you, but right now I need to go unwind. So if you give me 20 minutes, I will give you the rest of the evening until it's bedtime, or I'll give you the next hour. You set that boundary of whatever time you want to spend. And then you'll find yourself being able to show up as the parent that your children or child deserves. You'll show up for yourself, the you that you deserve to be, if you will just put yourself first.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And I think when I learned that, hold on, let me see what we got here. Oh, it helps them to understand, to navigate and understand
Yes.
emotions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see if I missed anybody else. Emotional intelligence, yes. Ali said it happens to her as a teacher as well. Boundaries are important. And I believe I saw Chancey said she's still learning to do that.
It's
Set
not an easy process because of what we said earlier. Mom guilt will kick in.
absolutely. And to your point, like working in this space, working in mental health, I think is when I learned how to start self-caring a lot more, because we give all day at work. We give because we're givers. And I'm dealing with some heavy, heavy stories and heavy situations all day. That ride home, like you said, you still trying to fix something or schedule something. So by the time I got home, these kids were little. So by the time I'm home, I'm spent and I'm tired. But they're, as soon as you close that door to the bathroom, there they go. Even if they knock, they just. um,
Yes.
I had to learn to set those boundaries and say, hey, give me a minute. And I will tell you, I felt so bad for telling my babies to give me a minute. That guilt,
Somebody said kids do not care.
they
No.
don't. They do not. They so selfish. But it took me a while to be able to say, hey, like you said, give me a minute, let me unwind. And it was in those moments that I would turn on my music or light an incense. And that's when I started getting into it. Yes, it was still just surface level to
Hmm.
begin, but it got me into that space where I learned I need to pour into me in order to
Yes.
be what I need to be for these kids or anybody else.
Yes.
Need to put me first, like you said. And it may sound like, whoa, wait a minute, controversial, but it's so
Right?
important. You need to be on your priority list, your to-do list.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I love this.
Well, girl, so talk to us some more. Anything else you want us to hear? But even if it sounds surface level, it's not. Absolutely, Ali or Ali? Ali. I'm gonna go with Ali. I don't know. Do you know
I was thinking Ollie, but it may be Allie.
Alicia? It's Alicia, so it might be Ali.
Okay.
We're gonna say Alicia. I hate messing people's name up. But yeah, even though it is surface level, it can still help. But we want to move past that. That's why we're talking tonight about the radical self-care, right?
Yes.
So can you share some examples of what radical self-care looks like in practice?
Yes. It looks like calling you
Yeah, I get
or
that.
me.
I get that.
But all jokes aside, oh gosh, y'all. Okay, so I have a passion for radical self-care. I'm very excited. Radical is what is going to get you through to your breakthrough that you need because you're doing the dirty work now. You know, it can look like basically one of the tips that I have is go to therapy. I know that therapy for some can be a bit taboo. I don't think that it is as much as it used to be,
Mhm.
though. And I always like to tell people therapy is for the mind. And the mind controls so much of the body. You know, what you think, how you think, and that could be a whole nother segment,
Yes.
controls so much to how your physical body responds. So
Mhm.
I always tell people you don't wait until something is necessarily wrong
Mhm.
before you go to your medical doctor for your body. Nothing has to be, and I don't even know, I don't like to use the word wrong. Maybe you have a better term.
No, but we just keeping it plain, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We just keeping it plain.
You don't have to wait until something is wrong to go to therapy. You could just go in for just like a little mental check-in, checkup time. And if you like me, I went into therapy. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. A little transparency. My daughter and I had kind of got into it, and she was like, "You need to go to therapy." And I'm like, "Excuse me, I got it all together. I'm good."
Right.
Right? Like Capricorn energy coming in.
You're
Like,
right.
I'm good. Right? And so I went to therapy, y'all, and I'm not a crier, or at least I wasn't. Y'all, I'm in there like, and I just, so you
Mhm.
would be surprised how much you have suppressed that you may be unaware of that therapist is going to help. It may look ugly at first, but they're going to help you dig up and navigate through to get you on your path of healing. A long time is another good one that can kind of teeter totter in between both. And really, it's about your intentions of what you are doing with that alone time. That can look like journaling, your
Mhm.
thoughts. I often will ask people, have you sat with your thoughts? Have you sat with your feelings? You know, because I should have brought it over here. I have a feelings wheel pillow
Mhm.
that I keep in my house. And I love it because most of us will say, you know, I'm so angry. Are you angry? Are you frustrated? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so it does some good to really sit and really dive into what it is that you are feeling. One big one that I do, y'all, I put my phone on D&D real quick.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
because this is all about really being in a space of healing you and taking care of you Everyone that knows me knows that my phone goes on D&D at 9 p.m. at night, and it comes back on at 6 o'clock in the morning. And y'all, I kind of have a dark sense of humor, but I'm like, if somebody died in the middle of the night, ain't nothing I can do for you at that point. So
What am I
I'm
doing?
asleep. Don't disturb me.
Don't do.
Even my kids, I tell them, you got two parents. You got two.
Pick them up.
And so if something happened after 9 p.m., call your daddy. Like now I will sometimes speak up, but seriously, for the most part, it really is about respecting your peace and respecting your space. And it is so okay to say no. Please write that one down as one of your radical things. Say no. Okay. For those of us, we tend to want to people please sometimes. And that can also lead to severe burnout because you're not taking care of who you are. And if I can't, I think say no is probably one of my smallest, biggest ones that people can do. And it's so difficult, especially if you are used to being the person that people will call on, and you don't want to feel like you're letting people down. Oh, what about people pleasing our parents? Okay, so is that, I can't see the rest of the name. I would love to like for you to kind of elaborate on that question, or do you kind of know, Dr. Candace, what they may mean by that?
I'm assuming that's who they're pleasing. And correct us if we're wrong, Tasha. You're the oldest sibling. So you use people pleasing, you appease your parents often. Is that what you're saying? Because
Okay.
as an oldest, as
If that's the case, my answer still stands. I do realize it's your parents, and I do realize it's your family. I don't know if my mom is still on here or not, but I remember one time I had given my mom like this little task. Obviously, I won't get too personal, but I had her make a list of things she could control, things she couldn't control, and I told her, I said, "Mom, we're gonna, once you get this list, we're gonna discuss it." On Sunday is my me day. I don't really talk to a whole lot of people. I will watch TV, I'll prep for the week, I'll do whatever, but it's my me time. And she called me and she got ready to go into the conversation. And I said, Mom, I love you, but not today.
not today.
We'll have to discuss this another day. And she received it well. And immediately I kind of felt bad because I'm like, man,
That guilt.
she did do it, like, and she did it quick. I wasn't expecting her to complete the task so quickly. But then I realized it's my day. And it's okay to say yes. I'm not saying that you can't ever say yes, but do it within having some boundaries, right?
That's the
Like,
key
say
word.
your parents like for you to come over and fix dinner 4 days a week. I'm just throwing an example out there because they want 4 different meals. Maybe take 2 days and prep 4 meals and say, hey, I can only give you 2 days this week. I'm going to go ahead and prep 4 meals for you, though. And then I'll be back at the same time next week and I'll go ahead and do it. So I like to call that a workaround. So you can find ways to still engage in that. My mom said I'm her personal therapist. Still engage in those activities without causing burnout. It really is about creating those boundaries that are set in place to protect you. I hope I answered your question.
I think you did. I'm not her, but I think you did. She's saying that they always come to her, and she feel like she has to say yes. But what Yvette said is critical. We have to have boundaries, and we have to set those boundaries even with our parents. We have to do it with our kids, but we have to do it with our parents too. Because you have to have your time where you can refuel and you can fill up and you can feed your soul. If you keep pouring out, you're going to be empty. And I'm sure if you have those conversations with your parents and help them to understand what you need, then they can receive that and they'll be able to respect your boundaries. You may have to reinforce them occasionally, but we will have to do that anyway. So
Yeah.
set your boundaries, Tasha. I want to go back to what Jayla said too. He said, how do you take a long time peacefully when all you can think about is the mess you're going to walk into?
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
um, I would encourage you to do basically what I told my mom to do. I would encourage you to create a list of things you can control versus things you cannot control. The things that the situations or whatever may be transpiring that you are able to control, whatever you have in that column, go ahead and create some sort of possibly like a timeline for that. Like if you have, kids play coming up, you have a bill that's due, you have a project that's due at work, create that timeline. And let me tell y'all, I don't know if y'all are against it or for it, but Chat GPT is like my best friend when it comes to like, helping you navigate through those timelines and things like that. Um, Dr. Candace, I'll probably I'm not quite done yet, but I'll probably let you talk more about the things that he probably can't or they can't control.
Mhm.
But as far as what you can control, I would encourage you to just create that timeline. Believe it or not, meditating helps a lot. I know some people may not think that it does, especially if you're not used to practicing, because it teaches you to be more present in the moment and focusing on your breath versus focusing on the things that are out of our control. It's really about, I always say, and it's a made up word, of course, controlling the controllables and
That's
what
what
you
I
can do.
say.
Yes.
That's exactly what I
In the
say.
space and time that you are in that present moment. If it's nothing that you can do about it,
You can't do anything about it. Hey, Anna.
just can't do anything about it, but really ask yourself if it is. Even when it comes down to, especially in today's economy when we're stressing, some of us are stressing about money and bills and things like that. Look around your house. See if it's anything you haven't used in a while. See what you could possibly sell on some of these neighborhood sites to earn some extra income. If you have like the time within your day, maybe sign up for one of the driver services, like become creative in things as far as like, let's say a financial aspect. Everything else, I would say, yeah, create that timeline for it and a list of what you can control and go from there and work it from there.
Absolutely. And I can understand what his statement like, because sometimes you're trying to take that time, but
Mhm.
you're concerned about what you're about to walk back into, and you
Mhm.
know it's probably going to be a mess. But I would say, whether it's a mess or not, you still need that time. So you can
Absolutely.
go out there and keep fixing the mess and burn yourself completely out, or you can pause for 10 minutes. Give yourself 10 minutes. Focus on what you need in that moment. Just be there. You
Mhm.
know, be where you are in that moment and deal with the next moment when it arrives. But just be present. When your mind starts going off into, okay, well, what did they mess up? What did I need to do? When it starts going off, center yourself, anchor yourself with the breath. Go back to your breath. And that's if you're meditating or if you're just taking some quiet time. Like I
Mhm.
told y'all before, you don't have to sit crisscross applesauce in this perfect meditative position.
Right.
Just be still. Hey, Yanni, that's my baby girl. Just be still and be quiet for a moment.
Mhm.
Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, but you need to stay there because
Yes.
you'll be fueled to take care of the things. And if it's children, then we just got to put up some boundaries with the kids and put up some rules and let them know. Listen,
Mhm.
if I put this over here, it needs to stay over here until I get back. Do what you
Mhm.
need to do, get some order, but take care of yourself.
Yes.
Um, I wanted to add too. You were talking about some of these radical self care things. The therapy, of course, that alone time, D and saying no. I would like to add, and this is a big one. This is radical. Leave relationships that are no longer serving you or that are draining you. Come on, was that too? Leave relationships that are no longer serving you or are draining you. That is a radical move.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it has to be an intimate relationship.
Yes.
This can be a friendship. This can be a family. This could be a job. Leave the relationships that are draining you and they're no longer serving you. Radical.
Absolutely.
All
Yes.
shifts. Absolutely. Black girl. That was one of the ones I had. Solo trips.
Oh,
Take a solo trip.
yes.
Solo staycation if you can. You know,
Mhm.
you may not be able to get out of the city or get out of the state. Go somewhere by yourself. We talked about a long time, but like literally be alone. Go somewhere else. Get out of your house. Get away from your partners. Get away from your children. Take that solo trip. That is radical self care. Most of us are afraid. There are a lot of people stepping out doing it, but a lot of people are afraid of that.
Mm-hmm. Can I touch on what you just said as far as the
Mhm.
staycation?
Mhm.
Guys, if you've never done it, I beg of thee, please do it. And this is coming from someone who, I'm single parent household. So it's like when Ethan went with his dad, meaning my house had no one in it. I
Mhm.
took the staycation. There was something about
Mhm.
being in another space, right? And I stayed within the city.
Mhm.
I took my candles, I took my books, I took my journal. I told my kids, I said, here's where I'm going to be. Here's my room number. If it is a dire emergency, please feel free to call me. Call your daddy first. Right. And I turned my phone off.
Mm.
And let me tell y'all, at first, I didn't know if it would make a difference until I went into work Monday. And I had not one, not two, several people tell me, you look different. You look
Mm.
refreshed. And I'm like, this worked.
Okay.
I was like, okay,
Hey, mama.
we got to do this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, it's just, you don't have to drive a long way to get there. You don't have to drive a long way to get back home because I know if y'all are on vacation, you need a vacation from the vacation when you get back home.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I just wanted to touch on that. That is, yes, that is beautiful. A staycation is absolutely amazing for being able to do that and grounding.
Yes. Yes.
And there are a few different ways that you can ground. When I don't, because I live in an apartment, so
Mhm.
when I'm not able to go and ground, like connecting back with the
Mhm.
earth, I will sit in my house, and I put it on my Facebook earlier, but you can just affirm yourself, literally just being in a space where you're alone, putting your hand over your heart. And I feel like I want to cry as I'm saying this, and just saying, I am safe here. I deserve to feel safe in this space.
Yes.
And just, Lord,
It's okay.
and just allowing yourself to be one with you. And as crazy as it may seem, even in grounding, have y'all ever like been at work in the morning or at home before you leave for work and you take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and you hold it and you kind of just go,
Yes.
believe it or not, it's the warmth that you're feeling that's connecting back to your body. That's why a lot of people, even in the dead of summer, will wrap themselves in a blanket because there is a sense of safety that comes with that warmth. So that also can be a part of grounding
Mhm.
and helping you connect back to you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the emotion that you let flow. You kind of almost wanted to stop yourself, but we're having real conversation. And I appreciate your
Yes.
vulnerability and just allowing that emotion to come up and
Hmm.
flow because we're human, right?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and when
Mhm.
you truly get into that space of grounding and being present with self, it is emotional. It can feel
Yes.
very emotional, and
Yes.
it works if you do it. Even if
Yes.
you just sit and because the body, the way we are designed, the way the Creator made us, we have everything that we need. We
Yes.
don't have to go outside of ourselves. And we oftentimes look outside of ourselves to feel whole or to feel this thing and to feel that thing, to feel this
Mm,
thing that's missing. But we have exactly what we need.
we do.
Think about when you hear bad news or something, or you feel very emotional about something. What is something that you find yourself doing?
Yes.
You might find yourself rocking. You don't think, let me rock right now. You
Yes.
just start rocking because your mind, your body knows that this is a comfort thing. I'm comforting myself. You
Yes.
might even find yourself, "Whew,"
Yes.
and these are things that you naturally do because your body is designed to try to take care of itself. So I would
Absolutely.
say in your grounding, just sit and hold yourself.
Yes.
Just sit there, hold yourself
With some tissues.
with some tissues. Sit there and hold yourself. It's okay. You have to pour back into you. It's
Yes.
making me think about parenting self, but I don't want to go into that because that's a whole nother topic when you start parenting yourself.
Yes.
But one last radical thing that I would suggest that anybody here watching is to grieve whatever you've lost.
Mm.
Don't minimize it. Take
That's a
some
hard one
time.
for me, Dr. Candace. Oh,
That in his heart, but it's radical. We're talking about radical, right?
I know.
This is very radical because most times we just keep going. We got to push
Yes.
through, and I'm not necessarily talking about a death.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that.
Yes.
Oh, grieving the right decision sometimes. Yes, you
Hmm.
have to grieve the things that you feel like or that you know you've lost so that
Yes.
you can continue to process for and move forward. So that's
Hmm.
going to be radical. And especially if we end the relationships that are no longer serving us, then guess what comes next? We need to grieve that thing. We just lost that. We ended that.
And
What
that's
was
a
normal
woof.
and what was familiar is now gone. So we need to grieve that thing.
Yes.
So that was one of the radical things that I put down to add to our conversation.
I actually love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I know that can be heavy. You might want to be in therapy for to have somebody you really, really love that let you call them anytime. Grief.
Listen, okay.
Any questions in the chat before we move on? We only have a few more minutes, but any questions in the chat? Y'all keep tapping it up for us. And I just appreciate you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I truly appreciate you.
I appreciate you, girl. Any okay. Just this was good. Thank you, Black girl. That's Dr. Appleton. So, for those
Oh,
who are still here watching it, thank you, Yanni. For anybody here that's feeling overwhelmed, like you don't know where to start, right? If you're watching this and you don't know where to start, you kind of want to. We've piqued your interest talking about this.
yes.
What is something that something small, a small shift that they can make today to help them to begin to dig deeper in their self care journey?
Honestly, I would start with really just sitting with yourself and asking yourself, what is it that I need for me in this moment? Stay still, be quiet, and listen to yourself because your body will tell you. Even if that's something I'll say as simple as rest, rest. A lot of us, without going into a whole nother subject, a lot of us, at least for me, don't really know how to do that. Because oftentimes, the more we work, we feel like our worth is tied into how much we are working. And eventually, you will find yourself in a state of burnout. I know for me, last year, I used to take such pride in, oh, yeah, let me check my calendar and see if I can pencil you in. Let me tell y'all, that got old real quick. I was looking forward to the Saturdays where I had a break and learning how to turn down brunch days and all things like that because my body just needed to rest. So be okay with that. Asking yourself what you need. It may be, you know, doing just a consultation with a therapist and just seeing if this will be the right move for you in this moment, because of course we don't want anything to feel forced, but I also don't want you to shy away from it because maybe you're thinking that it's not going to work. You might actually surprise yourself. And for our yesers out there, start with saying no. I mean, it doesn't, we don't, especially for the person who was saying something, I think about having like, or maybe I'm making it up, a busy lifestyle. Um, making radical changes doesn't, because I know we fed you guys a lot of information this evening. It doesn't have to be everything at once. Even if you just started with 5 minutes of meditation in the morning. Before we get off, I have to give this example. There is a gentleman by the name of Jay Shetty. I don't know how many people have heard of him, but he is an amazing author, podcaster, speaker, all the things. And I was listening to one of his shows, and he said, imagine you're laying in the bed, and before you even let your feet hit the ground, your mom walks in and she says, oh, hey, babe, how was your night? How did you sleep? Then your best friend walks in and they say, oh, hey, how was your date this weekend? Your boss walks in and they say, hey, did you happen to finish that project that I told you about? So before your feet even hit the ground, now you're dealing with all these fear of choices. Do I respond? Do I not respond? Sending your body into this stress response, upping your cortisol levels and things like that. And so we want to just be in a space of separating ourselves from all of that. Just taking 5 minutes when we wake up in the morning. If you have a balcony and it's daytime, go stand on it for just 5 minutes before you even get your day started. Meditate, pray, read your word, whatever you choose to do in the morning before you pick up your phone. Before you do anything, be very intentional about how you go into your day. You would be surprised how much of a difference just that little thing can make within your space. So just little things along the way as you progress. And of course, don't forget your surface level. Like we said in the beginning, it serves its purpose too, but just don't stop there. Just make sure you engage in the things that's really going to get to the core of healing and advancing you to be the best version of you that you can be.
Absolutely. Like you said, I want us to continue. I want you all to continue your surface level things, but don't mistake those little quick fixes for restoration, because they're not providing true restoration. And we have to continue to go deeper. And I like that, starting the day with silence, starting the day in meditation, in your word, or whatever you choose to do to honor your space and time. Do that before you get started, because picking up that phone and starting to go through all the things is just like all those people walking in the room before you can put your foot on the floor.
Yes.
That's pretty much what that is. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing with us. I do want to go over, if you're coming in late, just so you can have something to walk away with. We know the surface level things, but Miss Yvette has talked to us about some radical self-care, and she's talked about going to therapy. That is radical for a lot of people. Spending that alone time with intention. I kind of want to talk about that, but I know we're close to the end, because I know alone time for some people is very hard, and maybe we need to get into that.
Yeah.
Some people find it hard to be silent. Thank you. Thank you, Jayla.
It can be difficult sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Yes.
And if it's difficult for you, I will just say this: if it's difficult for you to have that alone time, ask yourself, okay, what makes this hard for me? And be honest with yourself. Get your journal, get your phone if you're doing it on your phone, and ask yourself, what makes this difficult? Why is this hard? And keep asking until you find the answer, because you know the answer is in there. It may be deep down in there, but because you're not fronting for nobody, you're not trying to put on these ads for a therapist or no friend, you're with yourself. You can be honest. And I want you to try that and see what it is, and then see how we can move from that space so that you can get comfortable. And
Yeah,
start
I
small.
love that.
Five
That
minutes.
is really good. That is definitely something I am going to have to
Listen, I have to ask,
incorporate, not just with that, but a lot of things. I like that.
yes, like what makes this so difficult? What am I telling myself about this? But girl, hold on. We're because the stories we tell ourselves, whew,
Yes. We've been to kept y'all another hour.
right, and I know y'all want to go eat something. So, a long time therapy, putting that phone on D&D, doing your journaling, saying no, and as my mama said, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Period.
You don't owe anybody a reason.
Absolutely not.
Hey, can you come help me move this weekend now?
No. Now, if you want to give them something, that's fine. You can
Yes.
compromise, but your no is still your no.
Yes. Yes. I am
Um,
not saying that you have to say no to don't go on a no frenzy because your friends may
right.
need you. But
Somebody
show
might
up for
need you.
yourself first.
My mama said, okay, I found a quiet space in my home where it's just me and my husband. Yeah, because you are truly an empty nester. So y'all have y'all space, honey.
I love it.
And then the last thing that I added was the grieving what you may have lost
Hmm.
without minimizing it, without saying, oh, well, that was so long ago, I'm over it. That's minimizing it. That could be something that you're still dealing with. Take the time to grieve those things you've lost. Leave those relationships that are no longer serving you or pouring into you or just draining you, period.
Absolutely.
This is radical self-care.
Hmm.
Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, this has been amazing. I don't know if we said it or added to that, but guys, take your rest, please. There's so much healing that comes in resting your mind and resting your body. And just know that resting doesn't make you lazy. Okay. It is okay to take a break. It is okay to take a 20-minute power nap in your day. It's actually proven to be very helpful. So yes, that's all from what you said.
I thank you so much. This conversation tonight,
So much.
it's to remind you all that healing, it takes time, and it's more than just a face mask or a bubble bath. You have to go deep, and you have to allow yourself that space to go deep, so that you can truly be restored and healed and go through that process. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out for help. I'm so glad that you all are hearing it from us, because in our community in particular, y'all hear me? Did it go out?
Just a little bit, but we can hear you
Oh,
now.
okay. In our community in particular, we have been having a hard time showing up for therapy. Not so much now as it was in the past, but we're trying to break that stigma. We're trying to normalize these conversations and just talk about it, right? Because as you said, if something is not feeling quite right, you go to the doctor, you go try to figure out what's going on. Your mental health is just as important. You won't deal with your physical stuff if your mental health is not taken care of. So in a lot of
Mhm.
cases, it starts here.
Absolutely.
We just want to make these some normal conversations for everybody. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for your engagement. Okay.
Thank you guys so much. And for all of those who followed me today,
Yeah.
thank y'all.
And if you haven't yet, go ahead and go and follow Miss Lonnie on here. This is Yvette, my friend from high school, my high school buddy. Thank you all for all the gifts, all the taps, all the comments. We appreciate you so much. And we will be back next week with, I was going to say season 2, episode 2. A therapist speak. Next week, we're talking about medication. Is it next week? Let me not get y'all wrong. Hold on, because I have my stuff lined up. Let me look at my schedule. Did I put it over there? Y'all just pause, talk amongst yourselves.
Let me know so I can tune in.
Right. Okay. Yes, we're talking about medication next Wednesday. Not just a quick fix, the truth behind medication and mental health. We want to talk about this. Dr. Neka will be in talking about that. She's here on TikTok as well. Obviously, she did a class, I guess you would say last semester when we were doing classes on here. So she'll be here talking about that. So if you're interested, come on back. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell your mama and them and your brother and them and everybody, all the names.
Yes.
all the moms to come over here and listen to this. So again, thank you, love. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Candace. I appreciate you.